Chapter 1. Pre-Dawn Feelings. Anastasia was still asleep, and over the endless Siberian taiga, the first glow of light was breaking across the pre-dawn sky. This time I was the first to awaken, but stayed quietly lying beside her on my sleeping bag, admiring her serene and beautiful face and the flowing contours of her figure, as the soft, heavenly light of the advancing morning made them ever more distinct. It was good that this time she had arranged for us to spend the night under the open sky. She had no doubt been able to sense the warmth and gentle stillness of the approaching night, and so had made our bed not in her cozy dugout cave, but outdoors at its entrance. She had spread out my sleeping bag, which I had brought during a previous visit to the taiga, while she fixed up beside me a beautiful place to sleep for herself, comprised of flowers and dried grasses. She looked picture perfect, lying there on that taiga bed, wearing a thin, flaxen, knee-length dress, which I had bought her as a gift from my readers. Perhaps she put it on only when I was around. She was quite capable of sleeping in the nude. The colder it was in the forest, the more dried grasses were applied. After all, a haystack can keep out the cold in winter too. Even a simple soul without Anastasia's level of hardiness could sleep comfortably in hay without extra clothing. I tried it myself. But this time, I was lying there on my sleeping bag, looking at Anastasia, resting beside me, and I kept imagining how this whole scene might look in a widescreen feature film. A sylvan glade in the depths of the endless Siberian taiga. The pre-dawn stillness is only rarely broken by a scarcely audible rustling of branches in the crowns of the majestic cedars. And here is this beautiful woman, so serenely asleep on her bed of grasses and flowers. Her breathing is perfectly even and barely audible. The only thing noticeable is the slight swaying to and fro of a blade of grass clinging to her upper lip, as she inhales and exhales the life-giving air of the Siberian taiga. Never before had I managed to see Anastasia asleep here. She was always the first to wake. But this time, I took great delight in watching her. Carefully raising my upper body and resting on my elbow, I studied her face, immersed myself in thought, and began talking to myself. You are still altogether beautiful, Anastasia. It will soon be 10 years that we have known each other. Of course, I've got older during this time, while you've hardly changed at all. No wrinkles on your face. Only your golden hair is now showing one strand of silver gray. Apparently, something extraordinary has happened to you, judging by the massive campaign that's been unleashed against you and your ideas, judging by what is being said in the press and bureaucrats' offices. Something is going on in the Dark Forces camp. They keep trying to get on my nerves. I know how they'd love to get their hands on you, but their arms, evidently, are not long enough. Still, you've got that gray strand of hair showing, but it can't spoil your extraordinary beauty. You know, tinting individual strands a variety of colors is an in thing right now among our young people, today highlighting strands as a hip fashion statement. You don't even need to go to the hairdresser. It just happened all on its own. The scar where that bullet grazed you, it's practically gone. The pre-dawn sky continued to brighten, and the scar was barely noticeable, even up close. Soon it would disappear completely. Look at you, sleeping so peacefully here in the fresh air, in your own taiga world, while out there in our world, extremely significant events are taking place. Researchers are talking about an information revolution. Perhaps it is thanks to you, or perhaps they are simply following the dictates of their own hearts. But people in our technocratic world are beginning to create their own family domains, enriching the land. They have adopted your image wholeheartedly, Anastasia, the marvelous image of the future for their family, the country, and possibly the whole order of the universe. They have understood all you have said and are building this marvelous future for themselves. And I am trying to comprehend it too. I am trying my best. I still don't completely understand what you mean to me. You taught me to write books. You bore me a son. You made me famous. You brought back my daughter's respect for me. You've done a lot. But that's not the main point. It's in something else. The main point. Perhaps it's lying hidden somewhere within. You know, Anastasia, I have never spoken of my feelings for you, neither to you, nor even to myself. In fact, I've never told any woman in my whole life that I love her. I've never said that, not because I'm completely without feelings, but because these words have always seemed strange to me, even nonsensical. After all, if a person loves another, this love should be reflected in one's actions toward one's beloved. If words need to be spoken, that means there are no genuine, tangible actions. It's the actions, after all, not words, that are the most important. Anastasia stirred ever so slightly, took a deep breath, but did not waken. And I continued to talk to her, still speaking within myself. Not once have I ever spoken to you about love, Anastasia. But if you asked me to fetch you a star from the sky, I would climb up to the top of the tallest tree, and pushing off from the uppermost branch, I would take a leap in the direction of that star. If I happened to fall, I would catch myself on its branches and climb up once more to the top, and again leap toward the star. You've never asked me to fetch you a star from the sky. You only asked me to write books, and I am writing them. But my writing doesn't always come out too well. Sometimes I fall, but I'm not done with them yet, after all. I still haven't written my final book. I will try to write it so that you will like it. Anastasia's eyelashes fluttered. A gentle glow flushed across her cheeks. She opened her eyes. I caught the tender gaze of her grayish-blue eyes. Oh, Lord, what a warmth those eyes always give off, especially when they are so close to me. Anastasia watched me without a word, but her eyes sparkled as though full of moisture. Good morning, Anastasia, I said. You probably haven't had a good long sleep like that before. You've always woken up before me. And a good morning to you, and a marvelous day, Vladimir, Anastasia responded quietly, almost in a whisper. I should like to have just a wee bit more sleep. So you haven't had enough sleep yet? I have, and a very good sleep at that. But my dream, I was having such a pleasant pre-dawn dream. What kind of dream? What was it about? I dreamt that you were talking with me about a tall tree and a star, about falling down and climbing up again. The words were about the tree and the star, but it struck me as though they were really about love. Things can often seem pretty fuzzy in dreams. What connection could a tree possibly have with love? Everything can have a connection, and a great meaning too. It is the feelings that matter here, not the words. This day's dawn has brought me an extraordinary feeling. I shall go out to greet and embrace. Who? This marvelous day, which has offered me such an extraordinary gift. Anastasia slowly rose to her feet, stepped a few paces away from the cave entrance, and then she did something she always did in the mornings, her unique exercise routine. There she was, flinging her arms out to the sides and a little bit upward. She gave a momentary glance up at the sky, and then all at once spun around. She then ran off and did an incredible somersault before spinning around again. Lying on my sleeping bag by the cave entrance, I admired Anastasia's darts and lunges and thought, wow, a mature woman already, and look how quickly and beautifully and energetically she moves like a young gymnast. Fascinating how she felt what I had in my mind as I was talking to myself while she was sleeping. Maybe I should really own up to her? And I cried out, Anastasia, it wasn't simply a dream that you were having. She stopped her exercise routine at once and stood there in the middle of the glade. Then she deftly turned a couple of cartwheels in my direction and landed right beside me. She sat down quickly on the ground and joyfully inquired, not simply a dream? And just how is it not simple? Out with it. Tell me all the details. Well, you see, I was thinking about that same tree. I was talking to myself about a star. And where? Tell me, where did you get these words from? What produced them, these words? Maybe feelings? Our conversation was interrupted by a cry from Anastasia's grandfather. Anastasia! Anastasia, listen to me right away. Do you read me? Anastasia jumped up, and I got up quickly too.